Let us continue with our lesson. So we have implemented the task repository, and next we will go to somewhere over here. I think it should be on the home view model. So if you go to the home view model, here we are getting the tasks, all of the tasks from the. So if you say task repository that get all tasks, so this function will go and get all of the data from the our API. So get all tasks we have implemented in the home view model. So what we need to do is after we get the data back from the API, we need to insert that data to our local database. So for that we will need to make use of a task repository, and we already have I think task repository somewhere over here. So let's go and see where we have a task repository. But now this task repository requires the app database. So we have to make use of app database. So if you open the app database, how we can pass this app database instance is get instance. So we need to call this function in order to create the app database service. So get instance is the function that we need to call and pass the context over here to get the app database. Over here, I can just say that it should be of the app database, right? Dot get instance. Since this is the companion object, we can call it directly using the dot notation over here. And we need to pass the application over here. So we need the context. So I can just pass the application over here since we get from the view model or the Android view model. So what we will do now, since we have the task repository, and after we have this particular data from the server or the API, what I will do over here is I will make use of the loop condition, for loop, and loop through all of these tasks. So this will contain the list of all of the tasks that we get from the server. So we need to loop through all of these tasks and insert it. So if you go to the insert function over here, it's taking a task entity, and we need to pass a single entity, not the list. So you can also create one other function that can take the list of the tasks and insert it in list at a one time instead of looping through. But we'll make use of a single task entity over here just to insert the one task entity at a time. So we'll go to the home view model, and over here I will make use of a for loop. For I can say over here task in task list dot value. Over here I'll call it, and I'll say it's not null. And when we have a task list, then we can just go and insert that. So over here I'll just give a comment section over here. Insert we can say task list to local database, right? So local database, and we have a task over here. Now we need to call the task repository dot insert. So we want to insert the task entity, and over here we can pass the task, the ASK task entity, and let's create a task entity. So first of all, we have to pass the ID. So ID we have given a default value, so we don't have to pass it. So after ID, if you go to the task entity, we have a task ID, title, body, status. So let's pass the task ID. So we can make it of a name argument over here. So name argument task ID, which should be of the task.id. And after the task ID, we have the title. We are making use of the name argument, which equals to task dot. We have the title. After title, we have the body. So body, which is of equals to task dot the body we need. And after that, we have a status, and task dot the status we will need. After status, what is there? What is the user ID and the physical? So let's make use of and we say we need the user ID over here, and I say task dot user ID that we can pass, and finally we have the bg color over here. Bg color tax dot the bg color. Okay, so that will create a new tax entity for us, and we'll call this particular function tax repository.insert. That should insert, look through all of the tasks that we have in our that we get from the API, and it should insert it. So let's run the application, and let's see that should create a database for us and insert all of this. So let's run the application. So before I think we run the application, I think we should log it so we can actually see in our log tag. So for that I will create a log over here, log.d, let me say, and let me pass the tag, and over here we will say that I will say a new record inserted, sorry, new record inserted to local DB. So that should say our new record has been inserted to the local DB, and okay, and we can get the, I think we can get the val, and I can say get the ID over here. So this insert, if you go to the tax down, it should return long. So long value it is returning. So we can get that value, and let me go to home view model, when over here new record, right? So new record, and insert it, and I can say row ID, and I can pass this ID over there. So ID of okay. So we should get this message whenever the new record is inserted to our database. So let's run the application now. That should print out this record whenever we are getting the new record and insert it to our local DB. So for that I will filter it out my log, and I'll filter it by this particular log, and let me log into the application. I can just say demo1@gmail.com, the password 1234567, and let me log in. And let me change this one particularly to the debug, because we are doing. So you can see that the new record has been inserted to our DB, and you can see 1 up to 22. So that means that it's working perfectly. That's what we have implemented over here, and it's inserting a new data. So how do we check that whether it has successfully created or recorded a new record to our database? Because we are not getting back from the data from the database currently. That is the next thing that we have to implement. So let me show you how we can go to the device explorer in your Android Studio, and find your app from the data. Go to the data section, and again inside data, and there you will see all of the packages, and you need to filter out your package from here. So if I see my package is the com.day1.todo app, so I can filter out this package over here somewhere here. Yeah, so app.day1. So I will go inside this, and let me not this one, right? So todo app. So if you see, there is a database section. So inside this database we have all of these three record over here, which is app taxdb. That is the database that we have set over here, right? The database name taxdb was created, and if you need to explore this one locally, we can save this one in our local drive and look into this database. So let us try to save this database in our local directory. So what we can do is I can just right click over here. First let me try to refresh synchronize it, and let me save this one. Where we can save it, you can save it anywhere you want, but let me save it to the C drive and create a new folder over here, and I can just say taxdb, and I will save that to particular this taxdb over here, and just save that one. Okay, the explorer has been saved, and we need to save all of these three inside whatever file you have inside this database. So we need to save that one, otherwise it will not work. So we will save in the taxdb here, and also this one. So we have to save all of these three files, because we need all of this to explore the database. So I will save it. Where is that one? Okay, over here. Okay, so let me open up my C Drive Explorer, and over here you can see that we have the TuxDB over here, and I have this database. And let me try to open it with DB browser SQLite. So if you have not installed this software, you can just go and Google it for the SQLite browser. So you will get that. I hope you guys know how to Google search, and you need to search for the SQLite Explorer and install it. So I'll just make use of that one and just okay. Now I should be able to explore that particular database using a SQLite browser. So we have one table over here. So particularly there are a lot of tables created, that is created by the Android system itself, that's needed for the database. And this is our table that we created, which was the Tux entity. If you go to the over here, and this is the table name that we have given, and that's the same table that has created over here. I will go to the browse data and I will select that particular Tux entity. And now you can see that we have the same data, which is of 1 to 22, that it has been inserted. And if you go to the logcat over here, it says that it has inserted from row ID 1 to 22. So that it's correct. So we are getting the same data over here, which is from 1 to 22. And the Tux ID is in the reverse order, because I think we are getting in the reverse order. We are getting in the reverse order from the API. That's why it has inserted in the reverse order. So we can sort it out, or from the API we can send it without any reverse order or without sorting, and we can just directly insert it from the same row ID that we have over here. So what we will do next is we will make use of some of the other functionality. Basically, we need to get the Tux ID in the sorted order without in the not in the descending order. We need in the ascending order, because you can see it has inserted in the reverse order. So let's meet up in the next lecture, and we'll do some of the more interesting thing with our local database. And make sure you go and install this DB browser, which is of SQLite DB browser. You can just Google search and you can install it. And let's meet up in the next lecture. Till then, have a great day.